This is the short tower. This is the tower I'm going to be making out of one cylinder. It's going to be this same material, this black 3D printed material, which ChatGPT says is the best at stopping algae. S tier. If you don't know what a tier list is, S just means supreme or whatever is above A tier, and then A through F, which would be the classic grading system that you saw in school. So this is S tier, this black PETG. I am making the short tower to start some Centiflor Tomatos my mom really loves. And this Centiflor plant we have is doing okay. It's producing, even though it doesn't look great. It's a little bit lighter than I would like. And it wasn't always this color when it started. For the first month, it was a nice dark green, like these Brandywines are pretty good. And then it turned kind of lighter, and I don't know why. I'm going to check inside this tower and see if there's algae problem. That could be why. I think I possibly didn't prune the original start. So there was two growing up in the same spot, and then maybe it got overcrowded. I think that's what happened. I can't tell when I'm looking at the original thing, but it's very crowded in there and it's very brown. But regardless, this tower is still producing, so I'm going to keep it going. It's going to take a month or maybe a month and a half, 2 months for these Centiflors to produce. So I will have this tower going until then, as long as it lasts. I've found that tomatoes can last a long time, even when they look like this. So I wouldn't be surprised if this lasts until these start producing, these small ones. But let me get to this tower. So I'm hoping that, and we're going to see, will this tower produce better, this short tower, produce better, because there will be no algae in this tower, at least in the black part. Because as I showed on previous videos, the black, there's no algae. I'll show no algae at all. Black stops light. White disperses light. And orange disperses light too, almost as bad as white. And so that's why that has algae over there, and this had no algae. And by the way, shocker, Tower Garden doesn't stop light either. It's a C tier, according to ChatGPT. And I'm not being demeaning to their product. I like their product. I'm just saying what ChatGPT said. And I find the same thing. There's algae in the towers. And it's a problem. It's a problem. It hurts your plants. I had algae in this same tower last year, Centiflor plants. And I had one cycle of plants, and I just didn't wash it between cycles. And I thought, there's not too much algae. It's not that bad. And I planted the Centiflor. 2 months later, the Centiflor didn't grow hardly at all. I looked inside the tower, it's covered in algae. The roots were covered in algae. It killed the plant, and it made me think algae is a much bigger deal than I thought. It doesn't just look bad. It isn't just hard to clean, but it actually negatively impacts your plants. And ChatGPT confirmed, yes, it does negatively impact your plants. Maybe a little won't do much, but if you have a medium or large amount, it can be a big problem. That's what killed my Centiflor plant last year. This year I cleaned this tower before I did this, and it's producing pretty good. Not as good as 2 years ago, but pretty good. But it looks doesn't look great. But that could be because I didn't prune the plants in the beginning. But I am going to try the black short tower on the Centiflors. I'm going to see how are they going to do. Are they going to do better? They're going to do worse. So let me just start. All you got to do is put that there, and then put the top on. Slides in, and that's it. That's it. Pretty easy, huh? And then I can see I didn't do it the right spot. So now it's fine. Basket hole does not push up against the top, like on the garden tower, as I showed in my last video. This right here, if there's a plant like a tomato got in there, like you saw in there, that huge root started to get super big right here, it would push this off if this wasn't screwed in. So that's why you should always screw in the Tower Garden tower. But here, This does not push up against that because the basket hole is on the outside. It's not going to be wedged underneath the top. So if it gets big, it's just going to get big. I'm not putting the Rockwells here. I'm going to put them here because I want to test the black. I don't want this because this lets in light. It's going to be just the same as that pretty much. Maybe less because there's less tower to grow algae in. But see, the thing is, you don't need, I just remembered another key point. You don't need a big tower if you're going to be doing a tower like this. I already knew the Centiflor is going to be taking over the whole tower as I've done it before. I only have plants planted in the very bottom rung there. I don't have any plants planted in any other spots, so those are just useless spots. That doesn't do anything. It's just taking up space. It's blocking light for these Centiflors in the back. So it's basically useless to do it that way. You'll really only need one, but I don't want to plant in the tower garden material because it has an algae issue. So I put one extra one on top. Done. That's all I need. So let me go ahead and plant these. These are the Centiflor. There's 2 in each one, but I will prune this once it gets a little bit more established, once I see which one looks best to me. This is a squash. I just want to try a squash as well. This will produce and then die in like 2 months, and then the tomatoes will keep going after that. So this is just a temporary, just to see. So I got that going. Let me turn this on. So there it goes. We will see how this goes in a month or two. I'll document it. I will put the tomato cage from there onto here. When these tomatoes get a little bit bigger, I will document the progress. Thank you for watching. See you on the next video.